James Bell Podcast, everybody. Okay, whether you're driving, cooking dinner, you might be out running, I don't know, you're in the gym, you're lying on a beach, we're slightly envious if you are, or just simply chilling on your bed. Once again, thank you for your company. Now, my guest today is one of the world's truly rare talents. She was awarded an MBE from the Queen for services to music, performed on Band Aid 20 Christmas single. She starred in West End shows and even jumped on a private jet with Prince. I can, of course, only be talking of the most famous night after Kit's driver Hasselhoff himself. Yes, it's Wolverhampton's own pocket rocket superstar. It's Beverley Knight, everybody. Come on. Let's pick it up. A little reference. I mean, who would have thought we'd get a reference into Knight Rider? I mean, of all those years ago with Mr. Hasselhoff. There you go. Thank you, Beverley, for coming in. This is such an honour, to say the least. This is on the back of, we were just talking just before we started recording. Literally this morning, so it's quite fortuitous. You just literally the last few days been on BBC Radio 2. You were on there a lot. You was on there with Zoe Ball. Now, I've heard you perform several times. I've seen it, and you always, to overuse a phrase, goosebumps, it's always tingly, to say the very least. What I saw on BBC Radio 2 at the Zoe Ball show, and Jeff, just to give you a rose, Jeff Goldblum, you'd find the clip, you have to. Jeff Goldblum was there in the studio. He must have seen everything. He's been around for God knows how many years. He is dumbstruck as he's listening to this. And I've only seen a clip, and I understand because I was talking to James, your hubby, as well. And even he said it was extra special. It's always special. Aww. But how did you feel about when you do something like that? Did you feel, yeah, that was special?
We turned up at Radio 2 and all we could think of was, God, it's early to be singing. It's really early. We're doing 4 songs. I was excited because I knew Jeff Goldblum would be there and Himesh Patel and the lovely man who won Bake Off, lovely David. I knew it'd be a nice atmosphere, but it's hard to kind of get people going in the morning. So I thought, well, we just got to have banger after banger and then everybody will wake up. And traditionally on that show, you got to do a cover at the end. And so I thought, right, okay, Rolling Stones Satisfaction, because I love that song, love the Stones. And, you know, we rehearsed it a couple of times, but there was just a really great energy in the room and you feed off the energy.
There's got to be a call for that to be released. There's got to. Honestly, I kid you not. Because it's not just a normal version of it. Did you do, because I need to look at all of it now because I only found it this morning. But is it Come As You Are?
I did My Song, Come As You Are. I did Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda. I did the single, the current single, Now or Never. And then I did the Rolling Stones Satisfaction.
Because the current single is off BK25.
That's
presumably, right? That represents 25 years.
Yeah.
In the music business.
Yeah.
And you're not slowing down. In fact, actually, I would strongly say, if anything, it's almost like there's a new surgence of Beverley Knight coming around. You've always been around. You've always been very present.
Always done my thing, yeah.
Are you doing something differently? Do you want to really make an even more of a bang because you've been 25 years in the business? What? There seems to be something different here.
I've kind of said, okay, 25 years. This album's put a line underneath that 25 years and said, yay, that was great. And now the Lambo needs to go into 7th gear. That's how I see it. So the next 25 years are going to be supersonic. That's my mindset.
You're full pelt right now. And on that level, because obviously fundamentally this is a health and a fitness podcast kind of, but it's also delving into some kind of positive mental health too. Because in order for you to do what you've done over the last 25 years, you need a particular mindset. There's no question. I mean, and to be able to get up and continue to do, and the level that you do it at. I mean, I don't know whether you keep your age a secret or anything else like that because you look so young.
No.
I mean, do you want to tell everybody?
At this current moment, I am 46 years of age.
Now, listen, if you'll see that Bev's picture, because you might be listening from Instagram, whatever the case is. There's just no way that you are, and it's not just how you look, but I always think age is an energy. I call age is an energy. It's nothing else. Age is an energy.
Yeah.
So if age was an energy, right, you're 18. There's no question. Right? Now, I believe that purpose gives you a lot of that. But purpose can only drive you so far before actually age will catch up and you burn out. So your health and fitness plays a huge part in your everyday life.
Absolutely. Right? The whole idea of age being an energy is so correct for a start. And the health and the fitness is the bedrock for what I do. If I didn't have really good health, if I wasn't in the best shape I can be all the time and, you know, physically, if I didn't maintain my fitness, I'd be in all kinds of trouble. You cannot maintain a schedule without it.
No, you can't. I agree. You can't drive. You can't drive your car at the pace it was designed to do unless you put the right fuel in.
Exactly.
The ambition that you have, if anybody reached even a tenth of what you've achieved so far, they'd probably go, "Hey, I made it. I'm done." But your ambition level is so high, so global. It's so there, and this is why you're so strict on your diet and exercise. And you are, and you're very regimental, and it does help because, of course, your husband James, who I know really well as well, he's incredibly regimental. It helps the fact that he's one of the best looking guys I've ever. I hate him, right? And he's just one of the, but it pays off. You can see that. You can see both, and it must help that both of you, because if one of you wasn't, and this, that, and the other, but you both of you are into your diet and exercise, which I think must help. So what's a day in the life of Beverley Knight, right? A good day. I mean, we all have little moments, but on average. An average day, wake up, what's your routine? Because people will go, do you know what? I just want to model. Sometimes it's rather invent your own tune. Actually, if I model Bev, I'm going to have a bit of energy.
Oh, bless.
So what's your day in the life?
So you do, wake up, pint of water straight in the mouth, got to be done, You
say got to be done. A lot of people don't know that, but to flush the system out as soon as you wake up is one of the best pieces, weirdly, of, I call it nutrition advice. There's no nutrition in what, but nutrition advice. So you do that. That's the first thing. Do you add lemon to it or anything like that?
Well, no, because I've got the little.
I see that. Little. Look at the size of your water.
We've got to have a little bit of water by the, bedside table, whatever. Get that down. We have our little kind of amino acid mineral kind of little shot thing, like a little
Do you add that to the water, or do you?
Oh no, have that by itself.
Okay.
Little
and is it like vitamins and minerals? What's in there? Just like a condensed.
Minerals, amino acids, and algae, and all that good stuff. I have a lovely probiotic as well that I take. I've got, there's a range of supplements.
And do you eat and then exercise, or exercise then eat?
Oh, I like to exercise when I'm on a fasted state.
Yeah,
I do
the
just go
in.
There'll be heavy weights, there'll be high intensity as well. Heavy weights are really important now that I'm, in my mid to later 40s.
But that's a really good point.
Really important.
I don't think enough is said about the different decades that we go through and the different requirements of the human body.
Yeah.
And I haven't been into weights, I wish I was, but I know now I've turned 50. I have to be now.
Got to.
This is the thing. And I'm more than aware of that. But when you're first starting, for those listening and think, well, I better get into weights now, would you say don't go mental on the first day?
Don't, because
you can't move for 5 days.
Oh my God. And then you'll be like, forget it. And then of course, all the great energy and all the great intention just drops off because you're like,
it does. I go mad because, of course, when you haven't done weights for a while, it's like when you haven't run for a while, you can pick up and you think, this is fantastic. I can do this. And then literally for the next 3-4 days, I think, well, who would ever put themselves through this pain?
Exactly. So you have to build up to it. And you can't. But it's so important to have heavy weights to promote the testosterone levels.
You do your weights in the morning, and then what, breakfast thereafter?
And then I will eat at some point after, get some form of protein down me, like a protein shake or something like that. But a first proper meal, it can go from, some time past earliest, past 11, right the way through to maybe 2 or something. Yeah.
Because you've satisfied the body. That's what people don't understand, is that because most people are overfed and undernourished.
Yeah.
But when you've genuinely given the body what it actually needs, which is why your body's not craving something more because it's already been fed. So by 2 o'clock, you think, well, actually, I'll tap into that now and get something else.
Now I'll have something.
And then do you do lunch? Do you do?
So it might be what people would consider to be breakfast. To me, breakfast, lunch, whatever, it's just about breaking that fast is so important. You've got to break it correctly.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put a load of carbohydrates, spike my insulin levels and, my blood sugars go all over the place. I make sure I break it with a good protein, lots and lots of great veg, something raw as well. I quite like sauerkraut. I quite like that, and some clean fish and veggies.
Well, I've been out. I've been out with you quite a few times. You and James and everything else, and I've seen how strict is the wrong word because actually it's your lifestyle. So it's wrong to say that. But you're very conscious of this, and I know personally that because some people say this is what I do, and then they don't. I know for a fact, Beverley does this to the left. There's no question. Alcohol doesn't really play any part in your life.
No, it doesn't.
And it's all of these things that add up to the amount of energy that you have. Now, I first met Bev, just to give you some history here. Many years ago, I was running a retreat in Turkey, not our current mountain retreat. It was one that we used to hire. It had its own private island. We didn't own it. And she came along with her then non-husband, James. This was a long time ago. It has so much meaning for me that particular week. I mean,
that week was special.
Well, you think of how many thousands of weeks we've run since. It is still to this day, I would say, the most memorable week we've had. And for a few reasons. My mum was there.
Your mum was there.
My mum was there. I didn't know Beverley, so I couldn't believe that Beverley Knight was coming. I was beside myself at the time.
You.
But I really was. I was like, oh my God. But at the end of the week, there was a few people there that had said, oh my God, Beverley Knight's here and this, that and the other. And nobody had asked you to sing. Of course, everybody secretly thought, wouldn't it be the best kind of degree of magic on planet Earth? But I remember you getting up on that final night and it made my mum as well. I mean, that's why it's so important as well. And for me. And Gold, if you haven't listened to Beverley Knight's track Gold, which is one of my favorite, I mean, it's hard to pick your favorite, but the words are beautiful in that song. And you sang, I think, about 4 or 5 tracks actually, a cappella, which, I mean, who does that? Which actually,
I like it.
But you a cappella is better than you with music. I mean, it's almost like it's interfering with the main instrument, genuinely. And when you started singing that and you changed the words of Gold and you put my name in, and I was crying like a puppy. And then we fast forward to literally a couple of months ago at Juicy Oasis now. And again, at the end of the week, we did 80 spin and you went, I just feel in the mood to sing. Oh, don't let me stop you. And then literally at the going home tour, and the clip's on my Instagram for anybody who wants to look at that. The people were dumbstruck. And then you had to leave. You was like, I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, I had to go.
I mean, genuinely incredible. So that's how I've got to know Beverley over the years. And I thought I knew her. And then what happens is, just before I do a podcast, is that we just kind of Google or whatever the case is, just have a little look. And I don't look at it before I do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then I've started looking through, as we're speaking now and everything, I'm thinking, so when I was writing the intro, and bear this in mind, 1 million albums, 3 awards, everything that you've done, going 25 years, everything else.
It's a long old time.
But you've achieved so much. So 1998, right?
Yeah.
So you're at the Jazz Cafe.
Yes.
Okay. Somebody popped into your dressing room.
Yes. I'd spotted him from the stage, to be fair.
Who just popped in?
David Bowie walked in with Iman and Joe, who was young, very young at the time. And I remember I was on stage and I was singing and I was doing my thing and I look up and I see this absolutely stunning woman, like ridiculously stunning woman, standing on a chair in the Jazz Cafe balcony, waving her arms, going mad. And I'm like, that looks like Iman. That's David Bowie. Hey? And so I'm like, right, okay.
But
so
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I go back into my performance. And then at the end, dressing room, and the Jazz Cafe dressing rooms back then was horrible. Knock the door, in walks David Bowie, cash-like. And I'm like, oh my God, it's David Bowie. And we just have a lovely chat about music. And he's so nice about my voice and everything. And yeah, he was the first, one of the biggest, most influential stars ever, who got behind my music and was really vocal about it, would tell everybody this.
And of course, he was the first to refer to you, wasn't he, as Little Aretha at the time.
Yeah, he used to call me Little Aretha.
You're so humble. You underplay everything. I think obviously your upbringing in Wolverhampton plays a huge part to that.
Massively.
You give back a lot to Wolverhampton. You mention Wolverhampton a lot. It is your home. You feel at home when you're there. And you've recently done, I mean, I'm going to push people now listening to this podcast to another podcast. So it's the Paracelsus. It's spelled Paracelus Recovery. Paracelsus Recovery podcast. It was about mental health. And you were invited on to talk about mental health because, for those who don't know, Beverley lost her father and various other aspects throughout her life, because mental health is just as important as physical health. And they said, look, here's what we'll do, is that we will give £10,000 to the charity of your choice if you come on and talk about it. So you did, and then just talk us through who you gave that £10,000 to and what their reaction was.
So it was myself and James, my husband, and both of us spoke in detail about our fathers who both had mental health issues, and both of us have lost our fathers, James when he was really young and me 9 years ago. It was great. It was cathartic. It was really, really brilliant. And when they said, 10 grand to a charity of your choice, I thought it would be really nice to have a local charity. There's so many charities out there, worthy causes and everything. But I wanted to donate, and James and I discussed it and knew this was the right thing to do. We gave it to a women's refuge based in Wolverhampton called The Haven. And The Haven takes in women who are fleeing from domestic violence. So, you know, them, their children, 2:00 in the morning, they up in the night, run out the door sometimes just the clothes they're in. You know, right?
I know, because my mum was battered.
Exactly. So you understand just what it means for a woman to have somewhere like that, especially when she's got a child in tow, to go to and to have some kind of resource or someone, A, who cares, B, who have got some kind of facilities to put them up, and C, can help them to build a new life. So...
But £10,000 must have sent them back. They must have gone.
They cried.
They must have cried their
eyes out.
They cried. It is a monumental sum of money for a charity.
For a charity which is, you know, local charity. Not these NGOs or that kind of thing.
No, exactly. And it all went to them. That's the point. Every penny
went to them. And we knew the work that they would do, because I'd been to visit The Haven. You know, they've got a secret location and everything. And I'd been to see what they do, how they fund these women, and the toys and the clothes that people locally will donate and all of that. And I just thought, this is wonderful.
And do you ever sometimes think, you might not have, I don't know, do you ever sometimes think that your work just in general, I say work, obviously it's your hobbies or your passion, I think you do I mean, if nobody paid you a penny to ever do anything again, you'd sing all day long.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do sing all day long, drive people mad.
But I don't think you drive them mad. I think without question that's what you're born to do. But talking about mental health as well, have you ever thought about that actually? Because music, I genuinely believe that, like exercise, I think music and exercise, especially combined, I think in terms of lifting somebody from a fog, that even by themselves are great, but certain music literally can take you from winter to spring, at least, if not summer.
Absolutely.
And are you conscious of that when you're writing sometimes, or whatever? That actually...
I'm completely conscious of it. When I lost my best friend Tyrone in 2003, he had the advanced stages of HIV, and then he got one of the horrible illnesses, and that sadly he died of. It was music that enabled me to pull myself back together and keep going. And then I wrote the album Affirmation very much with Tyrone in mind. And then when Dad died, we literally sang our way through the moment of his death on the 10th of September 2010, up to the funeral, and during the funeral, and at the graveside when the last bit of earth was put on top. We sang our way through it. I say we because I come from a very musical family.
And, my family couldn't have sang their way through it. I'll tell you that now.
I mean, we sang all the way through. That was how we got through. That was our...
Do you know, it's so strange. It was almost like a year to the day where I lost my mum and you lost your dad.
Look at that.
It was a funny old time, to say the least. And it's just, and that, I do remember every time September hits, I'm very conscious of, obviously, my mum's passing 10 years ago, but also I immediately become very conscious.
Yeah, I always have that.
There's always something around in the September thing. Before Juicy Oasis, and building it was no easy feat, to say the least.
It was hard.
So hard, so stressful. Yeah. But what I used to do, I used to stay in this very rundown B&B over the road while it was being built, and it was hard to say the least. And I remember one morning in particular, I was not good. I was not in a good place, right, mate? I was just like stressed. I put on my headphones. I thought I'd go for a run. It's a beautiful environment. It's by the River de Zezere. Yeah. And I remember, I thought, do you know, I'm going to put a bit of Bev on, right? And I just remember it was your rendition of Take Another Little Piece of My Heart.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember, I mean, it sounds corny now, but I remember I was crying a little bit during it, and I was just running around, and all of a sudden it lifted me, because I just went, actually, doesn't matter how stressed you are. Look at this, what you're about to build, or what you're about to do this. And of course, hearing your voice reminded me of the retreat that we hired, that we didn't own, everything else. But of course, you had your health challenge last year.
Big health challenge.
Well, it was a huge health challenge.
Big health challenge.
And it's indiscriminate. That came along and hit somebody who is very healthy, already. So it just so sometimes it's indiscriminate. Do you want to share? I don't know if you want to share or whatever. So what?
Yeah, I think it's important that people know. And just some of my thoughts on it. So I had uterine fibroids. So I had these great big, benign masses growing in my uterus, in my womb. I mean, massive, like the size of oranges. So I had a nice little collection of oranges sitting in my uterus.
How did you know that?
I felt a little lump on the lower part of my tummy, kind of low down towards my groin, and thought, what's that? I thought, no, hernia. No, I'm doing the bodyguard. No, I can't have a hernia while I'm doing the bodyguard. That's terrible. I'm going to deal with this later. But I thought I'd better check it out. Went to the hospital. This was in Toronto in Canada, where I'm literally starring in The Bodyguard. And they took my blood pressure and said, you're not going anywhere. I was like, what are you on about? They said, your blood pressure's 200 and whatever, 30 something over 100. And I was like, what? No, it isn't. They're like, yes, it is. And yes, it could be related to suspected fibroids. So the first thing they needed to do is get my blood pressure under control. They did that with drugs. Hated it, but that was the case. Then they did all the examinations, did an ultrasound and said, you've got 6 huge fibroids. They're pushing against your urethra, which is sending the wrong messages to your kidney, which is sending the wrong messages to your brain, which is shooting your blood pressure through the roof. How you haven't had a stroke, we don't know. And I'm sitting there like, what the hell, what the
am I
hell?
listening to? Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Me?
Yeah.
Oh, nah. So I had to get myself through the duration of starring in The Bodyguard because I didn't want to not do The Bodyguard, so I was having too much of a good time. But it was a challenge, to say the least. Actually, I felt all right when I had the blood pressure through the roof. The minute the drugs were introduced, I felt terrible. Got home, had the operation. Yay, freedom. Then it was, okay, I got to get myself back. And after the op, immediately, I couldn't even cough, let alone hold a note. So I was like, oh my God, this is really scary. I've never in my life not been able to sing or to have the support of my body to sing. I've always been able to just sing, when I felt like singing. Luckily, James, knowing a lot about health, nutrition, wellness, together we were like, we're going to get through this. So light, air, grounding, getting out, moving so that I didn't have the internal scarring as well as the scar that I had because it was a total abdominal hysterectomy. Wow, so they had to cut me open, not keyhole. 7 weeks later, went on holiday just to, recover. And
because that holiday helped a lot. You went to the Caribbean.
I went to Turks and Caicos.
Yeah.
And by the end of the holiday, I was running. I was swimming just to help my stomach muscles. And then I was running, and
because I couldn't believe how you were, because you came to, I think, Juicy Oasis even straight after that.
Straight after we came to
and it was almost unbelievable that you'd had the operation that, so recently and everything else. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, really. Do you know what I mean?
But that is testament to having health maintained over a
like
number
you said,
of
the
years.
Right air, the right sunshine, the right, there's several elements, aren't there?
Several elements, light, air, movement, wellness. Everything inside of you is saying, just sit here and don't move. Just sit here and don't move. But of course, that's when complications set in.
You've got to get moving.
You got to move.
And how are you now?
And now, normal, probably better.
No, probably better than you were before.
Yeah. I've got this, I call it my little second smile, the scar.
Yeah.
And it's there, and that just serves to remind me that I am not Superwoman.
Exactly. We all think we're immortal or super before something like that happens.
Exactly.
By the way, in the background, your husband James is holding his arms up like he's immortal.
Giving it the Hulk.
Never did I dream in a million years. Not only would you be coming on a retreat at some point, but also at the same time that we'd be here. And you did the Olympic. I'm just reading all this stuff.
Magic.
I mean, not only 7th studio album was Soul UK, and your Paralympic opening ceremony that you sang out.
That was nuts. That was crazy.
Does that rank as one of the...
Well, that's one of the best things I ever did. There's like 80,000 people there, and I'm singing. I'm closing the whole of the opening ceremony. So I'm singing I Am What I Am. And they'd asked me to do a special vocal arrangement of that song so the crowd could join in. So I'm thinking, okay, I've got to get 80,000 people to sing, most of which probably are not singers. I've got to do something they can sing really easily. And then on the night, to see that happen, and I'm like, 80,000 people are joining in, singing with me, and I actually vocally arranged this. And then I'm like, hold on a minute, no, 1 billion people
I was
are
watching
this
it was
around the world.
See, that was and that was also a nice little, hey, I'm here to the world.
Yeah,
is that kind
was.
of thing, which is where you're going now.
Yeah.
Prince.
So my Prince story is mad. It starts in 2007 where he's doing his 21 nights at the O2. His team asked if I would open for him. Yeah, lifelong Prince fan. Yeah. So I do it. I do my set. As I'm coming off stage, me and the band, all his band are there and they're applauding me off the stage, which I thought, oh God, that's really sweet. Thank you. And then as I turn to go into my dressing room, I feel someone grab me and spin me around to face them. And it's Prince. And he says, I want you to do my after shows. So will you hang around and do the after show tonight? I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Didn't know what to expect, but I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Did the after show. He comes and joins me doing my song, Keep This Fire Burning. So he's joining in guitar. I'm losing my mind. Yeah. This happens 4 times. I do the after show. So I keep coming back to the O2 to sing with him. After he's done his main performance, you know, his party performance, I come and join him for that. And then I think my life can get no better. But fast forward to February 2008, I get a phone call from his team saying, yeah, this is like Tuesday. Yeah, Prince wants you to come to LA this weekend. Can you come? I'm like, okay. So I get on a plane to LA. I don't know why I'm going. He wants me there. So I'm like, okay. I'm in the hotel. I still don't know why I'm there. The penny drops that it's the Oscars weekend and the great and good of Hollywood and all these people are kind of buzzing around this hotel. And then there's me from Wolverhampton. I'm like, this is nuts. And then Prince has his security phone me and says, get ready, we're going out tonight. I'm like, why am I here? Someone tell me why I'm here. So I get myself ready. I've got a friend of mine who does makeup for Mary J. Blige. So I'm like, DeAndre, please can you do my makeup? I'm going out with Prince. And he's like, I'm coming, girl. So he does my makeup. And I still don't know why I'm here. Prince phones me and we're on the phone for an hour and I'm no clearer by the end of the phone call. We talked music, we talked all kinds of stuff, but not why we were here. So anyway, a car comes to pick me up, takes me to Elton John's house for his Oscars party, as you do. So I'm there with all these big A-listers and me and Prince, and then was there for a bit. And then he says, I'm going to take you to a real party. So we get out, drive in his limo through the Hollywood Hills, arrive at this big mansion, which is Prince's rented mansion. Basically, he's throwing his own party. There's food and that. And I'm still like, I really don't know why I'm here. What is this all about? Other than he's thrown me here to have a party. Great, fine. Then all these Oscar winners start turning up. Javier Bardem.
Oh, come on.
With Penelope Cruz. The Coen brothers had won the Oscar for No Country for Old Men.
Great film.
That's why Javier Bardem was there. Chris Tucker, Wesley Snipes, Spike Lee, Kate Beckinsale. She's beautiful. Rachel Weisz. All these people turn up. Prince's band are like, yeah, okay, so we're going on stage in about 20 minutes. I'm like, you are? So I was like, okay, right, fine. So we got on stage. We jammed for 2 hours. And Prince, during, I can't remember what song it was we were jamming, no set list. I'm just vibing because luckily I know his back catalogue.
Of course, yeah, I do as well. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Would you? You just know it's true. If they said anybody else's back catalogue, I might have struggled, but I
was lucky, you know. And he's playing and then he leans back and goes, we're going to do Rock Steady, yeah? Okay, I'm going to hand you the mic. Rocksteady Aretha Franklin, the late
not Hey You the Rocksteady Crew in case people are thinking.
No, not Hey You the Rocksteady Crew. No, Rocksteady, the late great Aretha Franklin's big funky song. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So he hands me the mic. The band changed the groove. He's obviously leading it. And I grab the mic. Me, just little me from Wolverhampton. All these Oscar winners with their statuettes still in their hands. And I'm like, rock steady, baby, that's what I feel now. And Prince is on the guitar jamming and the band's behind me.
Sorry, how did that go again? We didn't quite get that. No, I'm sure I didn't quite get it. How did it go? You did a little... Yeah, go on.
Rock steady, baby, that's what I feel now. Let's call this song exactly what it is. And it goes on.
Oh, my God. Come on, people in here. Come on, people in here. Are we going crazy? Just a little snippet of the night.
So we sang that, and then he got the crowd to chant my name, which you can imagine, like, ridiculous. But the coda to this, the postscript to the story, which still blows my mind, after that blew my mind.
I was going to say, it's not all that. No, there's more? Okay.
There's more. So I go back to where his background singers are singing, and then I'm aware of someone being led through the crowd to the stage, like a makeshift stage where we are. And it's someone being led by someone else. It's Stevie Wonder.
No.
It's Stevie Wonder. He's led to the stage. He's taken to the keyboards, which are to my left. Prince is centre. I'm just behind Prince on the mic. And then we go into a whole little Stevie Wonder section.
Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? And actually, recently, you've been touring a bit of Stevie Wonder.
And
stuff,
then I did a tour where I was singing the songs of Stevie Wonder. I'd met him just previous to that, me and James, and I told him I was doing it. And he said,
did you think of the Oscar party, right? So there you are with Prince and everything else, and you've got Stevie Wonder and everything else, and you thought to yourself at that point, life can't get any better. And then you come to Juicy Oasis. And you suddenly realise, at that point, you suddenly realise that actually life
is wonderful. I've got to say, Juicy has been brilliant because there's so many things that I have got myself mentally prepared for, as well as physically prepared, while I've been at Juicy. No one knew I was doing The Bodyguard when I first did The Bodyguard back in 2013. I had the script while we were round the pool. I was learning my script at the pool, you know, kind of looking, making sure no one could see what it was. And
that was a great show. I mean, I know it's said, but The Bodyguard, I even had a really bad back then. I remember how severe that was. And we went out for dinner after, and it was it was actually my Kate's birthday. I remember, And I remember going down there, and it was one I was in so much pain, and I thought, I had a back spasm, which I get every now and then. I thought, I can't make it.
No.
But you know what? It's amazing what can take the pain away. And then all of a sudden, you're singing Whitney Houston tracks. You're like, oh my God, this is absolutely incredible.
It was mad.
So listen, I can't thank you. You're so busy. It's incredible. And no wonder your healthy lifestyle, fitness regime, and of course you're very lucky because you've got James to your side as well, who studies this stuff as well and everything else.
Yeah, he does.
So you know you guys really know this subject inside out. But not only do you know it, but you do it, which is they're two different things, right?
Yeah.
To say the very least. You're pretty much the only people I know that I hang around with where I feel like I need to improve my diet. So it's one of those. Do you know what I mean? BK25 obviously out now, but there's so much more going on. As Beverley said, you just want to smash the world. For you, this is the beginning. It feels like the beginning, and it isn't the beginning. I mean, my God, look at what you've done, what you've achieved, everything else. Most people hang their boots up, and you're like, no way. Actually, I'm ready for the next phase, and it really feels like that.
The next phase.
So listen, follow Beverley on all social media channels. Keep an eye. Every time she sings anything, I'll be reposting it and everything else because it is. And when you do hear, if you go onto BBC to Zoe Ball's show and you try and find these clips, it will baffle you in some ways, genuinely baffle you as to why genuinely the entire world doesn't know. This is a rare, I'm not saying it because I know, but ever since the day one I've always said to Bev, it is a very, very rare talent. There's singers that the equivalent of football would be there's footballers, there's Premiership footballers, then there's Ronaldo and Messi.
Yeah.
And that's the point. You're the equivalent in your industry of a Ronaldo or a Messi.
Wow. And I like football, so that means a lot to me.
But there aren't many of them. There's a certain je ne sais quoi. There's something extra that you can't put your finger on. Nobody quite knows what it is. But I tell you, Jeff Goldblum knew that the other morning when
his little face,
bless him. I mean, he must have gone, I've been on this planet so long, I've seen just about everything. Even Jurassic Park never had me this, whatever the case is. Thank you all for listening. And of course, thank you very much for the one, the only Beverley Knight for coming everybody on the podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.